Welcome, everyone, to Fanboy Frenzy, the only podcast on the internet that laughs more than the Joker's henchman. I am your host, Ryan Jarvis, and I'm joined this episode with a very special guest, Mr. Tiny Tiger himself, Brian Taylor. How you doing, Brian?
I'm pretty good. How about you?
Living the dream. Just beat Deathstroke. I actually feel like the Batman, which, for all the fans out there, that's exactly why we're doing this special show live from Gotham City, because we want to talk about the Arkham Knight. We're almost we're 7 days in. We're a full week into the game, and I wanted to kind of talk with Brian, someone else who's a big Batman fan, a big Arkham fan, and has played all the other games, all the other Arkham games, including Origins and Blackgate, and I have a lot to touch on with those, just because a lot of people don't feel they're a part of the canon, but this game changes that. But with that being said, this will deal with spoilers, so please, if you haven't played the game or you actually want to be surprised, then you better click it off now and come back after you have played the entirety of Arkham Knight, and it will take you at least 3 or 4 days to do so. Now, with that being said, Brian, I'm going to throw it to you. I want you to give me in a couple of minutes, what's your initial thoughts before we deep dive into the game? What's your initial thoughts of it? Did it hold up to the hype?
In my opinion, even though the story didn't work out quite the way we all thought it would, yeah, it did. It was still a really engrossing story. It's by far the best story-driven game I played in 2015 so far. If I had to rank it with the other 3 games, and I haven't quite finished Blackgate, so I'm not gonna include Blackgate in this. But if I had to rank it with the other 3 games, I would put it easily number 1 as far as the story and how well it's written. And it grabbed my attention from the first go, and I got it with 2 days left on my vacation, and I got maybe 30% of the way through the story on those first 2 days, and I went back to work, and that's all I could think about was getting back home to finish the damn story. So, I didn't do its job. It kept me engrossed, and I'd say it's the best Batman game in the series.
Well, I would definitely agree with that. I think, my initial thoughts of it was I was amazed. I really enjoyed the game. It was very similar to all the other ones in terms of the combat. The only thing that really pissed me off is the Batmobile, which I'm sure we'll get into that, because that damn thing handles like a semi-truck, and it really is a pain in the rear. But there are parts in it I thought were good, but we'll get more into that. As for the story, I agree with you. I actually thought the story was very well done. And in my opinion, I thought Arkham Origins was the better story up until this game. And just to touch on it, for everybody that thought that Arkham Origins and Blackgate were simply throwaway games because they weren't created by Rocksteady, this game changes everything. One thing, for example, is that, when you start off in GCPD, Brian, did you go into the evidence room?
I did not right away. I did a little bit later. There's a part of the story where you have to, but I went in there a little bit later, and you see all of the memorabilia. I guess that's the way to call it. But all the memorabilia and everything from the villains will be captured and everything, and it's kind of a neat room, but I'll let you elaborate on that. Sounds like you spent more time in it than I did.
Well, as soon as I went to GCPD the very first time in the game, I actually walked around a little bit just to see everything, because I figured they had to have a lot of Easter eggs in there. And when I went to the evidence room, I clearly expected to see, maybe one of the Penguin's umbrellas or something like that, but they literally had a bunch of weaponry from previous villains in previous games. And one of those, one of those happened to be Electrocutioner, which was only in Origins. And so there was a lot of references to Origins, so much in fact that I already said it earlier, or we were talking a few minutes ago before we went on air live, that we both dealt with Deathstroke today, and that's the biggest tie-in between Origins and Arkham Knight was Deathstroke, because he showed up in this game and he wasn't in the other Arkham games. So, I mean, there's a lot of Easter eggs in the game, which we'll elaborate more on. But, so the game actually dealt with two primary villains. We'll start fresh. It was Scarecrow and the Arkham Knight. Without outing the Arkham Knight's identity just yet, Brian, what did you think about the dynamic between Scarecrow and Arkham Knight? Like, how do you think those characters were portrayed? Good or bad?
I thought they were both doing really well. Scarecrow, he's supposed to be this dark, brooding and master of fear type villain, and he's got a lot of different personifications over the years, and in comics and in different games. But I think that if you look back at like Arkham Asylum, I think was the first one that he was in. Yeah. You look at the kind of side missions that you do with Scarecrow, and granted, it wasn't the main focus of that game. Obviously, Joker was in that game, but you look at the side missions that he did. I mean, they were all right, but they seemed kind of, I guess, they seemed kind of short for one thing, and they also seemed like they weren't really contrived all that well. I mean, it was playing on Batman's fears. And you really saw in this game, you saw Scarecrow elevate to a much more substantial villain, not just annoying getting Batman, but you really saw him go after Gotham City in this game. And you didn't see it in Arkham Asylum or really in the other games because he wasn't really a focal point. I personally, Scarecrow is one of my more favorite Batman villains. Just because of he doesn't necessarily have to directly go after everybody like a Two-Face would with guns and robberies and stuff like that. The Scarecrow finds different means to get through to his enemy. I thought it was portrayed really well in Arkham Knight. Speaking of the Arkham Knight, I thought his character was done really well too. You could really tell in the story that even from the very beginning, you could tell that this was a man who was clearly on a mission. He clearly had a vendetta against Batman. You find out later in the story why, but he was done really well, and I really enjoyed both of those characters.
I agree. I'll start with Scarecrow. I think Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow character, like you said, he's been around. I mean, he's one of the primary Batman villains, and I like his character because, like you said, he doesn't have to get a gun and go after Batman. He has something much more powerful, and that's fear. That's kind of the theme of the game. Fear and regret is the theme of Arkham Knight. But I think Jonathan Crane, the Scarecrow's character in Arkham Asylum, to your point, his missions really didn't mean much. They were really annoying, but yet they were cool looking. But I thought they were really annoying at best. And Arkham City, Scarecrow did have a small appearance, but it was only his mask. I remember on top of one of the bridges, I think it was. Did you remember that? You could see his mask laying on the ground. It was one of the Riddler trophies or one of the challenges. But so you could see that he was back in Gotham. He was away from Arkham Asylum. But I like the way they did his character, man. He seemed to be on point, very smart, almost a strategist. I liked his voice, man. The guy that voice acted him did great because it was really eerie. Do you agree? I mean, it sounded amazing. The voice acting was great. Absolutely great.
Especially with some of the missions in the middle of the game. I think you know which ones I'm talking about, but especially the darker missions in the very middle of the game, toward and closer to the end, the voice acting and everything really conveyed what was going on at the time really well.
Well, and then that leads us to the Arkham Knight. I thought his character was really well done. Everybody, I remember the build-up, even going back maybe 6 to 8 months ago, everybody wanted to know who the Arkham Knight was. I heard rumors that, it was Amanda Waller, who is the head of the Suicide Squad, which when you get to, I don't want to give anything away, but Blackgate has a little bit to do with that game, and which leads into, Arkham Asylum, actually, if you go to the timeline. But, basically Amanda Waller's like Nick Fury. She's like the Nick Fury of DC. And she creates this Suicide Squad, which they're currently doing a movie for right now. And you know, she hires these supervillains, and to get years knocked off their sentences, they go and do missions that if they die, it doesn't matter. So I thought that was a cool dynamic. But some people thought it was Amanda Waller as a clone of Batman. Some people thought it was Azrael. Some people even thought it was the Joker. But people know the Joker's not a fighter, so that kind of ruled him out. I'm actually going to let you spill the beans, Brian. But I texted you what my thoughts were on who I thought the Arkham Knight was, and you texted me back just the other day and said what? For the fans out there, who was the Arkham Knight?
Who did I think it was?
Yeah, who did you think it was initially, and who did it end up being?
I was one of the ones who thought that the writers were going to be a little more lazy than they were. I thought it was Joker. Like, there's some twisted, you know, ridiculous plot point or something, and he's somehow still alive at the end of Arkham City, and he comes back at the thing. As I played through it, as the Arkham Knight, as I played through it a little bit more, it occurred to me that it couldn't have been him because, like you were saying, that's not his personality. That's not the way the Joker operates. He doesn't, you know, he's not. First of all, he's not a military commander, which is what the Arkham Knight is. I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
But that's what he is, and that's not Joker. You know, Joker can't be. I don't want to say Joker can't be serious because, you know, the things that he does and his character are serious, obviously, but he thinks everything's a joke. I mean, he doesn't fit that character profile. And your two guesses were definitely a lot further on point. Let's put it that way.
Well, you know, the first guess, and this is it, so you better turn it off now if you haven't played it, but the two guesses I had initially were Jason Todd and Damian Wayne. And the reason for Jason Todd is because one of the developers from Rocksteady said that you get a lot of conversation about the Robins. I literally heard him say it, the Robins. Well, you know that there's only one real Robin right now, and that's Tim Drake. And the other Robin would have been Nightwing or Dick Grayson. So were they alluding to the middle Robin, which was Jason Todd? And it seemed to make sense that he would have that vendetta, especially when you started learning that the Arkham Knight knew Batman. Called him old man. But the other one, which was just as plausible, was, and this is another spoiler, when you're in the evidence room, you see Ra's al Ghul's sword from Arkham City. And if you recall, Ra's al Ghul died, remember when he fell off of Wonder Tower? And he was impaled. He was impaled on the fencing, the surrounding perimeter. Well, in the evidence room, you play this little clip, and it says no body was found, but these swords were found. Well, that means like Ra's al Ghul was still alive. And when they actually have some swords of his daughter, who actually was what was her name again? Talia, wasn't it? Talia al Ghul.
Talia.
Yeah. So she dies again. Spoiler, in Arkham City, Joker kills her, shoots her right in the stomach or the heart. And you can see Batman, he puts his hand on her display, and it almost is reminiscent to Arkham City when he's standing by his parents' his crime scene, and it plays the real soft music, and the camera starts panning around him. It's very reminiscent of that. So I was thinking, hey, here's a guy that knows Batman. He obviously has a crap ton of money. He has leadership skills. He can lead an army. It could have been either one. But I think to your point, as you play through the game, there's a lot of what are the scenes, Brian? Tell the fans out there that really smack you in the face, and then it's like if you didn't know, now you know. What were those scenes that the Joker was doing with Batman, messing with his mind?
There's three missions in the middle of the game where you're going after the. First of all, there's 5 people that were supposedly infected with Joker's Titan mutated blood that you find out about early in the game. And Batman got all 5 of them, in a holding cell. And Joker well, it's not Joker. Harley breaks them out, and you have to go collect them again and make sure that they don't get out and spread the mutation or the virus or whatever you want to call the Titan gene mutation. And you're going through the Finesse and movie studios, and you're trying to find 3 of them. And in each mission, where you're trying to find them, you run across a different scene from Batman's past, involved with being a certain person who, we'll just say, has reason to dislike Batman. And like I said, like Ryan said, if you haven't played it and you want to play it and you want to find it out for yourself, shut it off right now. But you eventually find out that these scenes are of the Jason Todd torture scenes that Joker is responsible for. And Jason, long story short, Jason decided to go after Joker, got himself captured, and Batman never came to save him. Or if he was doing Jarvis, he would know more about that than I would. But you find out that these interrogations, these torture scenes are coming through on Jason Todd's level, and then you find out more and more reasons why he would hold personal vendetta against Batman. And that's kind of the point where the light bulb comes on, and you're like, well, there's really not anybody else that it can be at this point. And I thought it was pretty well done, honestly, to just to build up to something like that. There's always a part of me personally that wants to see the big reveal without without that much personal information behind it. But I think they did it pretty well.
I do too. I think there's a scene in the end when you finally confront Jason, or the Hood, or the Arkham Knight. Damn, he's got a lot of names. He's like Muhammad Ali of rogues. But you start off fighting the Arkham Knight with Batman, and there's a scene when, if you know anything about the past, if you know the DC, the canon of Batman, Jason Todd at one point, when Batman, in his eyes, leaves him to die. In one story arc, Ra's al Ghul actually brings him back to life out of respect for Batman, because he basically used the Joker to manipulate Batman's movements, so Ra's al Ghul could do this big, huge, epic plan. But it wasn't his intention for Joker to take the young boy, as he calls him, Robin, Jason Todd, and kill him. So he takes his body, reinvigorates him. Jason Todd now is explosive with rage, and he becomes the Red Hood, which, by the way, if you recall, is supposed to be a pre-order bonus. Remember? So I didn't initially. That didn't register. I knew that he would somehow be in the game, but it wasn't until the scene when you're fighting the Arkham Knight and it comes out. Boom! There's the reveal you were talking about. It's Jason. Batman's tried it all. He's asked Alfred to research these people from Arkham. Try these people. We got to find out who it is. He wasn't expecting it to be anybody that knew who he was. And there's a point when he rips off, the Arkham Knight he rips off the top part of his helmet that has the bat horn, or the bat ears on it, and it just shows his red mask. And that's when it hit me. I'm like, oh, that is bad. The whole time, you could see the Red Hood under that mask. I thought that was a really awesome thing, a little Easter egg, if you will, to the fans that may know about that. But that's not the only Easter egg. There's a lot of shocking things I felt that happened in the game. Brian, is there anything that sticks out to you aside from the reveal that was shocking to you? Like you didn't expect to see it, or didn't see it coming?
The entire last mission.
Oh yeah, that's good. I mean, touch on that a little bit, because I was playing out on the couch and I'm like, what is going on? I mean, it was definitely a mind screw, when you're playing it. So kind of explain to the fanboys and fangirls out there what exactly you're talking about and what was shocking to you.
Well, we've already talked about Scarecrow and Scarecrow's tactics for how to get to his enemies, and he uses fear. And really early in the game, Batman becomes infected with the fear toxin, and as a result, he winds up hallucinating Joker the rest of the game. And that's what I was saying about Joker not actually being in this game, but he is. He's basically a hallucination for the entire game. And in the last mission, it's sort of a Batman confronting and facing his fear type deal. And you go through all these different scenes. You go through the scene where his parents are murdered, and you have to fight a bunch of clone Jokers. The whole last mission just seemed kind of, I don't want to say disjointed, but it was kind of jumbled together. And through a series of events, I don't know everything about it, but through a series of events, he ends up conquering his I guess, fear of, Joker and the ramifications of all the things that Joker's done and all the things that he's done. And it's really kind of dark, and then, like, the very last scene was really surprising to me. I mean, basically, again, spoilers, but you wind up surrendering to Scarecrow, and when you surrender to Scarecrow, the mask comes off. And it's one of those things where it's not like, well, he's there, and Scarecrow's standing over him, but Robin or somebody comes in and stops him from lifting the mask. No. He's there, he's strapped down, Scarecrow unmasked him, and all of a sudden, that just went down.
Yep.
And now you're like, okay, it makes sense. He's not afraid anymore. He's conquered his fear of the Joker. He's conquered all of his fears. He's not afraid. And I don't know if he was ever really afraid of Gotham knowing his identity. But I think at this point, I think he's just looking at it like, well, it doesn't really matter. I have no reason to be afraid of it anymore. And that little scene was just kind of, it kind of blew my mind. I was sitting there, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning on Sunday morning, and this is going through, and I'm like, maybe it was partially because of sleep deprivation. I don't know. It didn't make any, it made sense later, but it didn't make any sense at the time.
We know that you bring up a good point, and it kind of goes back, and this is something that I think we missed earlier, and we need to talk about since this is a spoiler-filled review. But you talked about how there was 5 people that were infected with the Joker's blood in Arkham City. Because you remember, going back to Arkham City, Joker infected Batman with his contaminated blood from the Titan in the first Arkham Asylum game, and Joker was dying. So he contaminates Batman's blood in Arkham City's game, so the Batman has to try to find an antidote so Joker can save his own life. It's really crazy, but in the midst of all that, Joker literally sends his blood out to all these different hospitals throughout Gotham City. Anyway, so now you fast forward to this game, and there's still 4 people remaining. But there's actually a 5th, and that's Batman. Batman is still infected with the Joker's blood, and I think this is what we miss sometimes playing that last scene, is Batman's biggest fear is becoming the Joker. Becoming that enemy. That's why you've seen Batman. Tell me if you agree here, or if I'm breathing too much into it. But I took out of it that Batman's biggest fear was becoming the Joker, because Batman and Joker are so tied together. That's why it showed Joker in the Batmobile, killing people and using Batman's toys, and he had to fight the Joker out of his head. And I think that's why that last scene when you fight the Joker into that container and it goes away, that's a way of finally sealing it away. Like, no, that evil, I'm not going to let that come out of me. Do you think that's where they were going with that, or I breathe too much into it?
No, I think you're absolutely right, because, Joker makes references the entire game about, he'll be, well, as soon as you let me take over, we'll go kill these guys and show them who's boss and blah, blah, blah. Well, as soon as I'm controlling your body, we'll do this and that and whatever. And you're like, it didn't make any damn sense until I've seen when you would say something like that. And then, you kind of realize, like you were saying, this Vinny Spears becoming the Joker, and he comes to terms with it in the last scene, and decides, that's not going to happen. And he deals with it. And then I think from there on, I don't think when he's unmasked by Scarecrow, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like it matters anymore, because he's conquered the last great fear of his. I think that the ending of the game would have been much better had he been forced to complete the game first. But, I don't know, I absolutely agree with you.
And speaking of ending, so this game, the last of it's very odd, because there are closure scenes with some characters and not with others, and that's what I want to jump to now, and then we'll go back to some other things. But this is supposed to be the last night. It starts off, but by the way, with shocking moments. The very beginning of the game, what you have to do to even start the game, to me was shocking, because I thought that brought closure. And you know what I'm talking about with the Joker. The very beginning of the game, you can't even progress to play the game until you burn the Joker's body. You cremate him. To me, that was a way of kind of telling the fans, look, he's dead. Get over it. I think you made the joke the other day about, I thought they said they didn't need Joker to make a good Batman game. But I think it kind of lends to that. But when it comes to closure, it starts off with Commissioner Gordon telling everybody this is the night that it happened. This is the night the Batman died. And that starts you off like, whoa, hell up. There's no way Batman's dead. There's just no freaking way. But it's said that this night is the last night he will be Batman ever. There's a scene when he's talking to Nightwing. He tells Nightwing, go back to Bloodhaven, and this will be the last time we fight together. He knew it then. But there's a lot of strained relationships here between Barbara Gordon, Commissioner Gordon, and Robin. Would you like to elaborate a little bit on that? And maybe that's another reason Batman knows he has to stop after this night, because he really put a lot of strain on his friends. Would you agree with that? Or even Alfred, too. I mean, Alfred's getting a little pissed off towards the end of the game.
Yeah, the most obvious one is Barbara getting kidnapped in this game. That obviously that's going to throw a wrench, or and then Gordon finding out that it was because of Batman, and her death and everything supposedly was because of Batman.
Which, by the way, was shocking.
And go ahead.
I was just going to say, I texted for people out there after this scene happens with at the very beginning, or when Barbara is supposedly killed. I thought she was dead, and I was shocked. I actually texted Brian. I was like, you're not going to believe it, because I didn't know if he was at that point yet. But I'm like, I'm legitimately shocked right now. Like, I don't even know what to say. I was kind of pissed. I'm like, really? You're going to kill her? But go on, continue. We find out it's not exactly what we thought.
Right, and, Batman, Gordon finds out that it's Batman's fault, basically, and then, that drives a wedge between Batman and Gordon. But the whole Robin thing, the biggest wedge I could see there in the strained relationship there was when they're talking about the infected when they get the three guys back, and it wasn't when they got the three guys back, but they were talking about the affected people that Batman got locked up, and Robin says the fifth one was you. And, Robin basically says, Rick locked you up. What if you can't, what if you lose it? I can't stop you. Robin can't stop him. Nobody can stop him if he loses it and turns the way that well, okay, we'll say 2 of the 3. I didn't really think that Albert King, the boxer, ever really looked like he had turned Joker, but the other 2 looked like they had.
Yeah.
And felt like they had. But, I mean, basically Batman, he's on this mission and he's got to do it himself, so he locks Robin in the holding cell that was meant for him. Obviously, that's a pretty big wedge in a strained relationship between the 2 of them.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And, yeah. So, I agree with you. You see a lot of tension between main characters there. I mean, then you find out later in the game that Gordon gets himself kidnapped, and Robin gets kidnapped, and then that entire last scene that we were talking about with the Scarecrow thing. It's a result of Batman failing to save those 2, and then to save them, he surrenders to Scarecrow. And I agree with you. There's a lot of tension between the main characters.
Yeah, and I think that's one reason I don't think Batman can continue. But let's back up a little bit, because I mentioned something at the very beginning, which is probably my only dislike of the game. It's complicated. The damn Batmobile. The Batmobile. I like it and I hate it at the same time. So I'm going to shoot to you, Brian. What did you think about, this is the first game or the last game in the franchise, supposedly. Finally get to drive the Batmobile, so now it's Grand Theft Arkham. So what did you think about the Batmobile? How did you like its maneuverability? And to tie to that, what do you think about the Riddler's challenges this time around? Because, Edward Nygma's back with a vengeance, let me tell you. What do you think about the Batmobile, though, and how it played with the Riddler's challenges? Did you like it? Did you not like it?
Honestly, the Batmobile for me, I texted you early on last week when we started playing it, and I said that I hated it. But for me, really, the first 2 or 3 hours were the worst, and then it got better for me. Like, I was able to better handle the Batmobile. And, I never really had a problem with the control of it after about the first 2 or 3 hours of the game. As far as the Riddler challenges and how they relate to the Batmobile, the 5 challenges that have the Batmobile in it can go to hell.
You got to explain to the fans out there that, before the Riddler, in Arkham Asylum, it was just trophies, and you had to take pictures of different things using your detective scanner, and then you go to Arkham City, same thing, but then now he's got death traps holding people hostage. Well, now the Riddler, he has so much time on his hands, by the way. What is it? What is it he does very different in this game, Brian? For those that don't know.
His family has become an amateur racetrack builder.
Oh, God.
NASCAR will be calling soon.
That's right, yeah. All you late Earnhardt fans out there, you might want to buy it just for that reason. It literally is a racing game. Heavens.
Well, it was an interesting twist. And the puzzle element that's always been there with Riddler and the challenges and everything, it's still there. I mean, because you're racing through and you have to activate and deactivate barriers at certain times, and you have to be in a certain place or you end up crushing yourself. Or it's there. It's just, if you're not a master of the Batmobile's controls, they will frustrate the hell out of you. And, I would definitely wait. I was talking about, for me, it took 2 or 3 hours to master the Batmobile's controls. I personally, somebody who's playing it for the first time, I would wait until you get a little more used to the controls of driving in the game before you attempt the Riddler challenges. Because this first couple, Riddler was only one of my favorite Batman villains. And so, these challenges, it was something different than just run here and find a trophy.
Right.
And so that was one of the first things that I went after. And the first couple challenges, I about threw my damn controller. I mean, So I got used to the Batmobile's controls. I couldn't do it all of them. And, after that, it wasn't that bad. I think the one that I had the most trouble with it was the very last one, because you have to drive sideways and upside down on walls a few times.
Yeah, that was fun.
But overall, I thought the challenge. Did you finish the challenges?
Yeah, I'm done. I just gotta finish collecting all the trophies now. Yeah, I did them all.
The ones to say Catwoman anyway. Yeah.
Right.
I thought that the dual challenges you had to do with Catwoman, I thought they were really fun and clever. So
I
think the challenges were great. I think it's just going to be a pain in the ass going through to find out all of the trophies and stuff.
We talked about earlier about character development of Scarecrow and just how well he was done. We talked about Jason Todd's Arkham Knight and how well it was done, which we're going to come back to that because there's a huge to go about the ending with him. But the Riddler is a main character in this game as well. And his progress, I remember the Riddler portrayed in the 60s Batman TV show with Frank Gorshin, very, very, very crazy, very animated, very much like Jim Carrey's version in Batman Forever. Isn't it interesting to see how, pervertedly cannibalistic and nihilistic he is in the Arkham games? Death traps and just stuff like that. I mean, doesn't that make his character really like a whole new take on the Riddler? I mean, kind of starting last game in Arkham City when they showed the little projector-style videos of his talking to you. Doesn't that make his character, you think, a lot cooler than he used to be? Was he was just wearing the tights?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I mean, if you look at Jim Carrey's character in Batman Forever, what substance was there? There was no substance to that character. And in the Arkham games, it's always been different. I mean, he's always been a more maniacal and dark character than he was in even Batman Forever, which was supposed to be a dark and maniacal film. But, no, I agree with you completely. He's a lot more interesting in the games than he ever has been in the movies or in the original TV series or anything like that, yeah.
We know in Batman, between Arkham Asylum and Arkham City, when they were still doing this is kind of off topic, kind of on topic too. What Christopher Nolan was prepping for Dark Knight Rises with Bane. There was a rumor out there that he was going to get, what's his name? Mr. Edward Scissorhands. What's his name? Come on, why does it leave me? Johnny Depp. They were going to have Johnny Depp play a darker Riddler. And I instantly thought of the Riddler in the Arkham series, about how he could be and how interesting his character could be in that dark universe. I mean, I thought that would have been amazing. Especially him playing that role would have been amazing. Obviously, it's a lost opportunity, but referencing the Riddler, he's definitely become a lot more of a menacing, to your point, character in the series. Now, Arkham Knight has a ton of villains in this game, a ton of Easter eggs. Like, I like to fly around and just listen to the criminals on the ground and what they're talking about. Because, by the way, I didn't even know Deathstroke was in the game yet, because I hadn't gotten that far yet with the militia, taking out the militia in the city. But there was actually one of the guys on the ground said, "Deathstroke's back in town. Are you kidding me? I thought it was going to get better now." What was there anything that was said by the guys on the ground that made you go, "Whoa, did he just say that? Did he really just say that?" Was there any of those oh crap moments like, "Whoa, he just talked about so and so. So and so ain't even in the game yet."
Yeah, it's kind of like I'm flying around and I listen to all these conversations and everything. And you hear these guys talking about how, one guy's like, "Well, I tried one of those question mark games today. It was really fun." And I'm like, "Okay," and you didn't die? Like,
yeah.
I don't understand that. there was the comment that you texted me about one of them, you're flying around, and one of them says, the only thing that would make this any better is if that freak from Metropolis flew in.
Yeah, I had to text Brian on that because I was shocked that they referenced, but there's a lot more references to Superman, which we'll get into a little later, but yeah, go on.
Yeah, little things like that, I mean, those are, it's funny when you come across them. It does a good job instead of it being a completely dark and brooding game of having just a little bit of levity in it. When you hear these thoughts or these for all intents and purposes, dumbasses talk like that.
I tell you what, the biggest Thelonious moment, and I say Thelonious because I think that's the guy's name in Shrek, when Lord Farquaad was thinking about, who he's going to marry, pick door number 1, door number 2, and Thelonious, the one guy was like, pick 3, my lord, and he had 2 fingers up, The biggest dumb moment is when, after Batman unmasks, I'm flying over and there's one of these criminals that says, okay, so if like Batman the whole time has been played by Bruce Wayne, then who's playing Bruce Wayne? It was just... I was like, these guys... Yeah, I was like, these guys are a couple fries shy of a Happy Meal. But, yeah, anyway, great stuff. Now, kind of carrying on for a second, side missions. There's side missions aplenty in here. What was your favorite side mission or side villain that you had to go after in this game?
Honestly, I just did it this morning. I just finished it this morning. But as far as my favorite series of side missions, it was probably the ones where you have to find the bodies that are getting hunted up.
Oh yeah, I agree.
You have to follow the opera music around.
Yeah, that's awesome.
It wasn't as monotonous as like the disarmament or the watchtower side missions. There's two of them. There's 2 side missions that are 1 mission apiece, and the one with what's his name? His name's Elliot. His last name's Elliot, but I can't remember. Hush. That's what it's.
Yeah.
What his actual,
Tommy Elliot.
Real name is. Yeah, and that one's pretty interesting. I think my favorite was probably the ones with the where you have to find the bodies that are getting hung up by Professor Pig.
Dude, that side mission was cool. I tell you, I had an idea for a game, and tell me what you think about this. But my wife's a big fan of CSI and a lot of crime dramas, and of course we watched the Gotham TV series, which I thought was great. But the cool thing about those missions Brian was talking about was that you have to kind of recreate the crime scene a little bit, much like you have in other Arkham games. Where like in Arkham City when Joker first tried to shoot you, and you had to dodge the bullet, and you had to find the trajectory. Basically, all that comes back this time. But I like the crime scene investigation here in this game. I would love to have seen like a Gotham game, where it's almost like LA Noire, except it's in Gotham City, where you can use some of that technology and occasionally help Batman take down a criminal. I think that would be awesome. And playing those types of scenes with the Pig character, the Pig Killer, I thought that would have been a nice little twist. Would you be down for a game like that, since you like those story missions that way?
Yeah. Yeah, I would. I mean, it would have to be. You loved the game, but I was not a huge fan of it. It had to be done better than LA Noire. Okay. I could go down for something like that, yeah.
That'd be pretty cool. Now, I'll tell you, another side mission that kind of stuck out to me was the Man Bat. What exactly did you think that first time you're trying to zip line up past the building and he just comes out of nowhere and just freaks you out, man? What were you thinking the first time that happened to you?
Well, I was playing that at like 2 o'clock in the morning with the lights out, so it scared the shit out of me. But no, it's interesting. I mean, it's a character that you don't obviously hear about all the time. When you hear about Batman, I mean, everybody knows Two-Face, everybody knows Joker, everybody knows Riddler. Man-Bat wasn't really one. To be honest with you, I didn't even know it existed before the game. And then, you know, when I did the missions and I read the backstory and everything, it was pretty interesting. I still don't understand. Did we lock him up, or I can't remember? Did we lock him up in GCPD, or did we do something else with him?
No, we locked him up after
really early.
Yeah, after we injected him.
Then,
you know, after we injected
him. That was the only thing I didn't understand about the Man-Bat mission, was why he had to be locked up in GCPD. He didn't really do anything.
Yeah.
I mean, except, you know, he mutated himself into a bat. But you never really, and you see him kill anybody, you didn't see anything like that happen. Not in this game, but that was the only thing that didn't make sense about those side missions. I'll tell you, the other side missions that I really enjoyed actually were the Two-Face side missions.
Oh yeah, those were awesome with the bank robberies. You know, the cool thing about that was at the very beginning of them is that the sound, because of the alarm going off, you could just knock the hell out of all the criminals up until a certain point, and they couldn't hear you. Which, you know, when you're doing the stealth missions, that's always the trick, is to take out the room of criminals without being seen. So, what about the
Two-Face shows up and shuts the alarm off, and then it's a completely different scenario from there on in.
Is that why you liked it? Because it kind of broke it up a little bit?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was basically two different styles of having to play the game, but it wasn't you're going to find that the ones that I liked were the ones that were not monotonous, like the watchtowers or the city checkpoints, or to a degree in the fireman missions. You know, the Two-Face missions and the bank robberies, there were only 3 of them, for one thing, or 4, I guess. And yeah, it was more of the same in the sense that you have to figure out how to get around your building and take down those guys as effectively as possible. But there's a big difference between these bank robberies and, you know, other missions in the game where you're doing that, and that's the fact that you have a time limit in bank robberies, because you have until they get all the money out of the bank. And depending on which bank it is, you know, you may have longer, you may have shorter. But, you know, I felt like it really pushed your strategic thinking to the limits on those missions. Now, if I'm just doing like the watchtower missions, where you have to take out the guys at the watchtower and then disable the sentry guns and stuff, there's no time limit. So, I mean, you can sit there and study it, and then if you get in the things, you can always grapple out of it, you know, grapple to where they can't see you, and continue to really basically reset the situation and go. Well, the bank robbery missions can't do that because you have a time limit. So it really makes you think and strategize, because one mistake could cost you the time that you needed to you know, stop these guys.
Yeah, I agree.
That's part of the reason I like those.
One thing I wanted to do, a side note to tie on to the Man-Bat side mission, just real quick for everybody out there, is that a lot of people may not know, but in Arkham Origins, again, for everybody that doesn't think that's a part of the canon, they're not correct. It is exactly in the canon of this Arkham franchise. There's scenes when you go back to the Batcave to change your bat suit or whatever, and Alfred is there all the time, and you can keep talking to Alfred, and he'll keep giving you Easter eggs. And there's one time where Alfred literally says, "I just saw a huge bat fly overhead, sir." And Batman said, "I'll look into it," and that's all you heard. So you can see they were setting this up way back then. You know, that Batman knew of this Man-Bat, but never actually laid his eyes on him. But going on what you just said earlier about Two-Face's missions, Yeah, I didn't even know they were time limited initially. I didn't lose any of them. But I noticed that up on the top there's a money meter. And you keep seeing money get dropped into like this bar. And you're like, oh crap, man, I'm being timed on this thing. So then you got to hit it, you know. But what did you think about, and we're going to fast forward a little bit here, because I know a lot of people want to know our take on the closure with the Red Hood. Because a lot of people are not really talking about this, but we've talked about it. As a matter of fact, you texted me and said that something to the effect of you're kind of upset the way that the whole Arkham Knight, the whole unveil with Jason Todd happened. Why are you upset about it? And kind of give us a little feedback there about what you would have expected to see, or what you wanted to see, rather.
Well, it just didn't make any damn sense. And the reason I say that is because you spend the whole game, trying to fight him, and then you have your encounter where for all intents and purposes, it's a stealth mission but with a sniper that you have to take out. Which, say what you want, I thought it was done well.
Yeah. It's
basically the same as the rest of the game, except you have to take out a sniper. And you have to do it in stages because he has a health bar that only goes down by a certain amount each time. But each time you grapple onto the vantage point that he was taking to try and shoot you from, there's a little bit of dialogue between the two. And it never felt to me like once that was over, once that situation was resolved, it never felt to me like there was a reason to the next thing involving Red Hood to happen, which is when you're in the chair after you've been unmasked by Scarecrow and he's trying to inject you with fear toxin again and basically put you out of your misery or your mind permanently. Red Hood shows up and shoots basically your handcuffs off and helps you out. And there's never really any elaboration or explanation over. You're left to assume that Jason's gotten over all the things. He's gotten over the betrayal. He's gotten over Batman not coming to look for him, or at least his opinion. Jason's opinion is tainted by what Joker's told him over the years. But there's never really any explanation as to I guess he's over it. He just saved Batman from Scarecrow. So good game, guys. It didn't make any sense to me.
So you were looking for the Metal Gear Solid 4 moment, Guns of the Patriots, at the very end with Snake. You were kind of.
I was looking for the big boss and Solid Snake moment. Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
and I didn't get it.
And I think, and that's true. I mean, but here's the thing, and it just hit me the other day. They're saving that for DLC, I guarantee it, because Red Hood has a DLC, which, by the way, I pre-ordered the game and I didn't get a code for it, so I don't know if something changed there or if they're going to make it down the road now. I'm really not sure, but he's supposed to have his own story mission. But from what I gather, the first one now is Harley Quinn's, which I haven't played yet. And then next month, Batgirl's comes out. But, Red Hood's supposed to have his own. So, I mean, maybe that's when they're going to tie this up.
I got a code for it.
Did you? So I wonder.
I got a code for it.
So have you messed with it yet?
No, I haven't messed with it yet. I haven't. I've been so busy with the rest of the game that I haven't put in the code for DLC. My receipt from GameStop says to unlock Red Hood DLC, here's the code. It does not give me a code for the Harley DLC, which is what I was supposed to get for pre-ordering from GameStop. But anyway.
I got the other one.
GameStop is a whole other podcast.
That's right, yeah. We'll do that again. I was also expecting the Warm Embrace, and if they wait for DLC for that, I'll be upset. But, you know, because I think that should have been in the game. I mean, that is the completion of the game. They did so well on everything else. I see no reason why they shouldn't have, you know, brought it all home, you know, and then left everything else out there. Because, you know, Red Hood is a good guy. Well, money, obviously. Red Hood is a good guy. Money, Ryan. It's freaking money.
Again, another podcast.
Yeah. So I tell you, you know, we're coming up on an hour here, and you know we really have spoiled the game for a lot of people. So if you sat through it all and you hadn't played it yet, it's all on you. Now, there's a lot of other side missions which we're not going to get into, but there's a lot of other Batman villains. Now I'm going to throw something out at you because Fanboy Frenzy did a Easter egg video, put it on YouTube, because there's a lot of Easter eggs in the game to other DC characters. The first one that really shocked me was, did you notice a certain billionaire's billboards and building in Gotham City now? Another billionaire? Who is that again?
Luthor?
Lex Luthor. Luthor Corp has now moved to Gotham City as well. No longer content to keep his filthy, tainted hands in Metropolis. Oh, no. He is now shown up in Gotham City, and that shocked me. That one billboard, before I even knew Lex Corp, the entire freaking building was there. Let me throw an ending at you and tell me how you'd have reacted to this. So, what made me think about it was one of the very first towers when you get to Foundry Island, the 1/3 of the entire Gotham City area you're able to explore. There's actually Lex Corp's building. It's still under construction. And it happens to be a place where the militia have a base. And that stuck out to me a little bit, especially when I hadn't finished the game yet and you kept hearing people talk about all the money that the Arkham Knight has, you know, because they have tanks and they have drones and he has an entire army that took over Gotham City. You had to have deep pockets for that. What would you have thought if it was Lex Luthor bankrolling this whole thing? How would you have felt leading into the Batman vs. Superman movie next year to have that kind of a heavy tie-in setting up a future Justice League game, which is the rumor?
It's Batman's game. That's all I'm going to say. That's my opinion. If they want to come out with a Justice League game or a game similar to Arkham Knight that involves more of the Justice League, that's fine. But to me, Batman and the Justice League has always been Batman and the Justice League, not Batman. If you get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I get it. I understand.
That's my opinion. I mean, it sounds like you probably have a different one, but my opinion is it's a Batman game. Leave it to Batman. Let's not throw, Superman or anybody else in the game.
Well, I
also wins the ending to the trilogy.
I just thought it would have been a nice twist to, and I guess there's a scene in the game somewhere when you're in a house and you listen to a voice message where there is a Easter egg of Lex Luthor's voice offering to buy Wayne Enterprises. So, I mean, I guess there is a little bit of that, but it's indirect. It's not direct. But anyway, so one thing I want to...
Right, I mean, as far as direct story points, I think it was better off as just a Batman game. If they want to include Easter eggs like that, I mean, that's fine. But if you start throwing Lex Luthor and all these guys in on main story points, it's taking. I think it would be taking away from the experience of the game, considering the first two games had nothing to do with. Four games had absolutely nothing to do with the Justice League.
Right, I agree. So, what do you think is the biggest wasted opportunity in the game? And it could be anything. It could be a story arc that maybe they never touched on. It could be a different weapon, a different style of fighting. It could be anything. I mean, anything. What is it you would have added to this game if you had the power to do so?
The flow of the story in the last probably 5 or 6 hours of the game. really, to me, that was the only bad point of the game. I mean, yeah, we talked about the Batmobile. I didn't have that much trouble with the Batmobile. Yes, the Riddler's a pain in the ass, but he's always a pain in the ass in every game if you come to expect it. Really, like I said, the flow of the story in the last 5 or 6 hours is really what stuck out to me. I mean, it was still good, but I feel like they missed the opportunity because they tried to jump around a bit. Like I was saying, the confrontation with Jason, and all of a sudden now we go from with no explanation to from he hates Batman to he's open Batman, and maybe it was just me and the way I played the game because I basically played the last 5 or 6 hours all at once Sunday night when I got home from work. But I feel like that was the biggest missed opportunity. Was they didn't really. I just feel like the flow of the game wasn't that great in the last few hours. Up until then, it was great. There's another moment in the story where he releases the fear toxin, and it kind of gives you the false impression that was the end of the game, which Batman games that do that. But it didn't seem like it flowed very well. Really, from that point on, it seems like there was a bunch of different things going on all at once. Other than that, I mean, I didn't really find that much bad to say about the game, honestly. The controls for Batman, again, they're a pain in the ass, and they've been a pain in the ass since the first game. When you have as much as you're trying to shoehorn in with that character, you have no choice but to have controls that are a little bit awkward. I mean, it took me a few hours to get back into. I tried to play Arkham Origins the other night to kind of get the patterns back in my hands for all the different things that you have to do. But I don't know how many damn times, going to control the Batmobile, I hit L2 to back up and go into battle mode.
Oh yeah.
So backing up. I as much as I hate saying this because I know how much you don't really like the series, but it controls a lot like Assassin's Creed, and that's not a good thing. That's my opinion, though.
Yeah, we know. I think, and it's ironic that you mentioned Assassin's Creed because my biggest missed opportunity in the game is I don't understand why there are not a ton of multiplayer co-op missions, because you have all of these characters like Robin and Nightwing and Catwoman and Azrael. You have these other Batman sidekicks or helpers, if you will. I don't understand why they tease you in some of the stories where you can play with Nightwing and go back and forth and do superhero double team moves and all that. I mean, to me, that was a huge waste because when I saw the latest Assassin's Creed, I didn't play it, to your point, but how you could do co-op side missions and co-op assassinations and all that kind of stuff. I thought, how cool would that be, like if you and I were playing and you were Batman, I was Nightwing, or I was Robin and you were Nightwing, or I'm Azrael and you're Batman, and we're going through the city swinging around and we're taking out villains, and that opens up different side missions with different Batman villains because Batman has the deepest rogues gallery next to Spider-Man of any other superhero. So, I mean, to me, that was the biggest wasted opportunity, and I don't think there's anything they can do bar a patch. I mean, do you agree with that? Do you think that was that's a huge missed opportunity there?
Well, yeah, I agree. I mean, and we haven't really, neither one of us have really messed around with it much. I mean, maybe when we both finish with our single player and we mess around with what little multiplayer there really isn't, as far as I've seen. I mean, yeah, you can, I can see how far you've progressed on leaderboards, and I can, try to beat your score on AR missions, but you're right. I mean, unless we discover something amazing about the multiplayer once we're finished with the single player, I would have to agree with you. I mean, it's a pretty big missed opportunity. I don't necessarily play games for multiplayer. I mean, I would agree with you. It's a big missed opportunity, but for me, the flow of the story was worse. But no, I agree with you. I mean, it's a pretty big missed opportunity, especially, and you see it. I mean, you see it all over. If you look at IGN, if you look at other at websites, you know, and you hear people talking about it, and that's one of the main complaints about the game is the way the multiplayer was handled.
Well, you know, I don't, and to your point, I mean, I don't buy games for multiplayer. I mean, how long did it take before you actually got me playing multiplayer? It was like Killzone or something. Shadowfall. I mean, I don't play a lot of multiplayer games. Destiny is about that, and Borderlands 2 is about the only two games I played a ton of multiplayer in. But I just thought that with Arkham City, I think it was, where you could be Robin and Batman, or maybe it was Origins. I can't remember, but it was kind of a sucky concept, but it was still cool. But yeah, I just thought here with all the power behind the game, the technology, I just thought it'd have been a nice little twist to be able to do some of those missions with your friends. Now, with that being said, Brian, do you have anything that you'd like, any final comments, anything at all you'd like to kind of get out there, get off your chest before we finish up?
Pretty well in test and everything. I mean, if I had to give the game a rating, I know I tested you, and we both tried to compare scores, and you know, some outlets are giving it, like IGN gave it a 9.2, and I asked you if it was higher or lower, and you said higher. I said 9.2. It's probably there, right about right, or 9.0, or somewhere around there. Yeah, it's a great game. I mean, if you play the other 4 games and you know what's going on, it's a great game. I don't know if it would be as good if it was your first game in the series. But I mean, that's the nature of any game that is part of a series, and especially as they're later in those series. Yeah, we were both really excited, really fun for this. We have been for God, a year at least.
Oh yeah, since before it got delayed. Yeah, since before it got delayed, man. We were really hyped for that game, you know?
Yeah, and yeah, like I said, the story wasn't doing exactly the way as well as I thought it would be, but you know, it's still a great game. And you know, I definitely recommend playing it if you haven't yet. Play it. Unfortunately, if you're hearing me say this right now, we've already ruined the game for you.
That's right. Yeah, yeah. Well, I tell you what, you know, that's go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
I was just going to say, that's well said, well said. You know, everybody out there, fanboys and fangirls, we risked our lives to give you a live podcast right here in the heart of Gotham City. Stuff it's off the chain here, and so we hope that you have enjoyed the podcast. Brian, you have a wonderful and awesome Twitch channel that I've actually watched before myself. Do you want to give everybody a way they can contact you, or that they can watch your Twitch channel?
www.twitch.tv/TinyTiger87.
Brian does a lot of streaming of usually the most recent games or the most popular games. He's done it from everything this year, from Dying Light to Destiny to, of course, Arkham Knight. So definitely be on the lookout for that. Plus, you can check out Fanboy Frenzy on Facebook.com/Fanboy Frenzy. You can find us on YouTube. You can find us on Mixcloud.com/Fanboy Frenzy. Hopefully within a week or two, we will finally be on iTunes. There's been a lot of hoops we have to jump through to get to that point, but that should be happening soon. And we're also working on a website full of a bunch of content as well, which is already underway. You could go there, but I haven't put the address out because I want to get it more fine-tuned before I put it out there. But we really appreciate everybody listening. Brian, thank you for joining us this week, and I got to get you back on to talk about, after we've done the Harley Quinn story and all the other DLC stories, we need to come in and do a game review about them. You willing to do that?
I'm willing to do that, and you got to get me on in September. You know what comes in September.
Absolutely.
You're solid 5.
Of course. I mean, that's going to be I got to take some time off for that, just like I did Arkham. What day does that come out?
September 1st.
Wow, man. Absolutely. I mean, that's literally right around the corner, man, before you know it. Everybody heard it here. Be expecting more Brian on the podcast, talking more about Batman and all looking forward as well to Metal Gear. So thank you all for tuning in. This is Ryan Jarvis. I'm joined by Brian Taylor. Thank you again. Live from Gotham City. See you next time.